Open your eyes.
Derail, this is...
You think you know how the world works? You think that this material universe is all there is? What is real? What mysteries lie beyond the reach of your senses? At the root of existence, mind and matter meet. Thoughts shape reality. This universe is only one of an infinite number. Worlds without end. Some benevolent and life-giving. Others filled with malice and hunger. Dark places where powers older than time lie, ravenous and waiting. Who are you in this vast multiverse?
Teach me.
If you open yourself to acceptance, the results that can be so infectious. Catapult and you see the projection, you just gotta know.
Good YouTube, Wysol here. Now before we get started into the full video, I'm just going to quickly talk about something that I'm not going to explain in the video. Now they are the layers of dimensions within the Tree of Life or the Tree of Death. I've got up to 12 for you that I'm going to quickly explain. So I'm going to start from the 4th dimension up, and I'm going to speak up to the 12th, and I'm just going to read it a little bit out from a book that I've got. But I'm not going to add it into there because there's essentially an infinite layer of dimensions, not just 12. We've got 12 so we can understand it in a 3D concept. Now when you go higher in dimensions, there's no speaking, you don't need to articulate things, it's just absorption is the best way I can explain it. Things like in the mental plane, knowing about the light books and stuff, you just absorb. You can't really explain it, it's just knowing. So even in this book they even explained that like they can't really explain it properly to you because you need to experience it, okay? So this book is called Ascension Magic by Christopher Penczak. I'm just going to quickly read like the first sentence of each of the dimensions up to 12. I'm going to ignore the... Okay, we'll quickly explain the 3D one for those that don't really understand the 3D dimension. So, the 3rd dimension is the easiest of density levels to explain because we're here. The different levels become more difficult to describe the further away you get from the 3rd dimension. The 3rd dimension is the human level of consciousness. It is the surface of the planet, but more importantly, it is the collective consensus physical reality. Okay? 4th dimension, space of collective unconscious. Okay? The archetypal realm that links the thoughts and mind, conscious and unconscious, of only not humanity, but all the beings on Earth. Here, we are beyond time and space. So that is the description for 4th dimension. 5th dimension. 5th dimension is the dimension of unity. The individuality of consciousness merges harmoniously with the group identity of collective unconsciousness. You and I identities more easily flow into we, yet individuality is not completely sacrificed. Okay? 6th dimension, oh, that's a big explanation for the 5th. 6th dimension is the realm of geometry. It isn't a realm of Pythagorean theorem, though Pythagoras had a strong connection to this level of consciousness. It is the realm of sacred geometry teachings that were part of the Greek mystery schools where Pythagoras was a teacher. Though sacred geometry has been omitted from most classroom teachings, it is the language of life and light, from which all things manifest. Okay. 7th dimension. Again, I'm not going to explain these in the next part because I'm just going to talk about how there's an infinite level and layers, and it all goes in a big... Now, in my picture in the next bit, imagine that as a 3D spider web going in infinite directions all everywhere, okay? Imagine that in the next bit. But I'll finish this bit. So we're on the 7th dimension, so we've got another 5 to go. As we enter higher dimensions beyond the 6th, we lose shape and form. The dimensions become shorter, more abstract, and less easily described in human language. We're still trying to comprehend what consciousness could be like at these levels, and have created ideas and models, yet nothing can be very concrete because reality at this level is not concrete. So I kind of just explained that earlier, how you just absorb everything in higher levels of reality. So we go to the 8th. 8th dimension is the realm of the divine mind, or at least the aspect of the divine mind that manifests our galaxy. Some describe this as the divine light, but it is not simply light, it is the consciousness of our creation. In fairy traditions, there is the utterer who speaks the world into creation. Okay? If his utterance are the actual sound or 7th dimension, the utterer, the being doing the uttering, is the manifestation of the 8th dimension. So what I'm getting from there is kind of sound dimension, what they kind of talk about. 9th dimension. So if this is a little bit long, but it's good to know about these before we go into the next bit, because I'm not going to add these layers in because it can go up near infinitely. Okay? 9th dimension is the galactic center, metaphysically described as a black hole that acts as a gravitational linchpin of our system. From a multidimensional view, the heart of the Milky Way is a gateway, an interface and transformational point into the next realm, some which describe as a new universe. 9th dimensional time waves emerge from this point, aided by the guardians whose name we draw from Mayan lore, the Tzolk'in. Okay? It says here, 9th dimensional waves are like fertile soil on which our 3rd dimension grows. 10th dimension is the vertical axis that aligns the previous 9 dimensions. It is the Shaman's world tree, Kabbalistic tree of life, and the spire running through the dimensions. When a person's consciousness is simultaneously aware of all 9 dimensions equally, it is in the 10th dimension. Okay? 11th dimension. The 11th dimension is all-encompassing energy field that manifests and contains the previous dimensions, 1 through 10. This is the first realm of universal consciousness. 12th dimension. Actually, wait. I'm going to speak about 13 dimensions. The 12th dimension is the great central sun of our universe, the source of which all galaxies in our universe emanate, and around which they all revolve. It is the source of universal consciousness and the higher aspect of the divine mind. I'm assuming they are referring to like Aeon Soth, like the top of the Sephiroth with this bit. Alright, 13th dimension. Last bit before we get into the next bit. The 13th dimension is the gateway of the universes beyond our own universe. This is the level of cosmic consciousness, cosmic logos, and the source of all other universes in the multiverse. I'm going to say that again, the multiverse. There are multiple universes. It is through the 13th dimension that we are able to access the other universes. Okay? I'll put a little picture up, 2 pictures up probably. One of which is on this page next here, which is like dimensions of the light, 7 existing planes. That'll be up like right here, not right now. And the other one would be, it's a big graph of dimensions. Again, it goes up to like 42 or 49, but that essentially can go up infinitely because you can break down the little brackets even more. Okay? But on to the next bit where we talk about the infinite multiverse. We're going to talk about the infinite realities of this multiverse, because there is a multiverse. So, warning, this may give you a headache because this is a lot of information. Okay, you could take this as a DNA activation or a DNA upgrade. You're about to might have a headache. Okay, now the thumbnail is a picture of a universe and the tree of life and the tree of death. Now, each sphere in the Tree of Life and the Tree of Death has their own Sephiroth or Qliphoth, okay? And that is just one galaxy. So I'll show you the picture that I drew. It's a rather awful one in a notepad. But as you can see, at the top is the Tree of Life. At the bottom is the Tree of Death. Now, all those squiggles that you can see on the sides are different galaxies. So imagine R1, Tree of Life, Tree of Death is our galaxy. Okay? Now, you can use the Tree of Life. At the bottom would be the Earth, second would be the Moon, then Sun, and then Pluto, and then... I always forget the top three. It's like Uranus, Neptune, and something. But that is our galaxy. That is the darker aspect of our galaxy. And then each of these spheres has their own Sephiroth and Qliphoth, as you can see down here. Okay? And then each of those spheres, in those Sephiroths and Qliphoths that come off of the spheres, have their own Sephiroths and Qliphoths. So as you can see, this goes on infinitely. Infinitely. Okay? Again, this is just an example of our galaxy, and all those squiggles, that's another galaxy. That's just me drawing squiggles to represent a galaxy. Okay? The infinite reality. Now again, this is one universe. I've put a note down there. I think it's flipped on the other side on the recording. Nice one. But I labeled that as Universe 1. Okay? There is a multiverse, which means there are multiple universes. And there's also an alternate reality. Now, alternate realities are not alternate timelines. Alternate timelines are simply alternate timelines. An alternate timeline is something where you take another action and you've kind of done a quantum shift. You've changed timelines. You've time traveled. But now it's going to get really deeper. Who's heard of tachyons? Anyone? Maybe in TV shows, superhero stuff, tachyons. TV show called The Flash had it, where it increased his speed, even though tachyons go slower. Yeah, tachyons is the alternate reality. Now, we live in an electron reality, okay? Electrons go from slow to fast, okay? And when you go past the speed of light, it actually goes from fast to slow. So there is an alternate reality. Think of this again. I'm going to use The Flash as an example. I watched this about... It's near the end of 2020 now, so... mid-2019 maybe? There was an episode about the anti-monitor and the monitor. That was the antimatter world, or the tachyon realm, and the electron realm. Okay? So, I want you to add that to an alternate reality that's flipped on its head, that also has another realm of multiverses. Okay? That is the depths that reality really goes. And that might give you a headache, because that is a lot to take in. The infinite possibilities are quite literally infinite. Okay? Anyway, that's a short video because I'm not going to go in... Well, I can't go into detail as to whereabouts all these realms are, because you can just travel there yourself. Okay? Sorry, that cut out. But meditation can lead to astral projection. Okay? You are going to need to meditate to astral project unless it happens involuntarily. But you can travel to all these realms. There are... Oh, I forgot something actually. Forgot something. And I need to draw it in. There are also something called tunnels. For each Sephiroth, there are tunnels. And they're also related to tarot cards as well. I'm not going to explain that today. But I'll just quickly draw a couple of lines with my left hand, which is going to be really bad because I'm not left-handed. Alright. As you can see, up on the top left, there's 3 lines that I've drawn. Now, those are known as tunnels. They're also another dimensions of the reality. Okay? Each tunnel is another mini pocket, you could call, of a dimension. Now, all dimensions exist in different frequencies and different vibrations. So as you can imagine, if all of these are existing, and then they all exist and can exist in different vibrations and frequencies, there are literally infinite realities. Last thing I did forget to mention, there is something called black stars. They do exist. They are quite literally black stars. They are known as the oldest stars in the known universe. So they are semi-invisible to the naked eye, which means there are stars and probably galaxies out there that are very much older and more expansive than what we know of and what I've just kind of described in this, because essentially what I've described as this visible galaxies and stuff, but there are invisible things, okay, as we already know. Anyway, back to the next bit. If you got to the end of the video, you're probably wondering, well, I kind of want to know what the first and the second dimensions are. I'll give you a little explanation. So, what it says here, the first dimension is the sphere of planetary consciousness. It relates to the planetary being we call Mother Earth, or Gaia, from the Greek myths. Many, but not all, of our ancient myths describe the Earth as feminine, as the mother. She gives our bodies, our homes, our food, but eventually, like any good child, we must form an adult relationship with her based on love and mutual respect. Today, people are learning how to rebuild and repair their relationship with Earth. Looking at the lore of the cultures, I won't speak about this part of stuff. The first density level is the level of consciousness that connects us all, because we all live in the biosphere of Mother Earth, even if we don't consciously recognizing it. And second dimension is the consciousness level between the core of the planet and the surface. This dude needs to update his info. The second dimension is the consciousness level between inner Earth and the planet, between Mother Gaia and humanity, the forces of nature that meditate between the Earth, the heart of the Earth, and the world of humans. Oh, it just explained it. The forces of nature that mediate between the heart of the Earth and the Earth world of humans, so inner Earth, beings are the guardians of the second density level. Okay? Alright, that is the first and second, and go back to the next bit. But that is that today. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope I didn't give you too much of a headache. Thank you.